AI is everywhere at the moment. Everywhere you look, it's AI enhanced. But as small business owners, I think a lot of people don't really know. They've probably dabbled with ChatGPT. Today's video, I'm going to show you some stuff to open your eyes as small business owners about really what AI can do for your business. I'm Justin from AskJT, and I'm going to show you today all about the wonders of AI, and I'm going to launch straight off into it. I want you to think about AI as more than just ChatGPT, and I've seen these adverts doing the rounds on Facebook and things like that, and they say, oh, you know, business owners are just playing with AI. Do you know what? They're absolutely true. They are just playing with AI. People open up a free license of ChatGPT, they put a few funny prompts in, they get one of those dolls made, and, you know, they're like, yeah, it's quite useful, it's helping me draft a few letters and stuff like that. But you're just messing around with it. You've got to move yourself beyond that level and kind of really get to grips with AI. Now, I'm going to tell you a few kind of things that I've been doing with AI recently. And the first example I'm going to start with is I had a client come in to see me, and they said, Justin, we've got this problem. We've got a dog daycare kind of business, and we've got this problem where we've got like customers, we've got dogs. The dogs might have like allergies or medication that they're taking. Also, if someone books 3 sessions in a week, then they're entitled to a discount on the 3rd session, and we don't really have a system to track that. There's nothing out in the marketplace that can do it. But, you know, we're so niche, you know, most dog care businesses are relatively small. So how on earth are we going to resolve this problem? We've been to a software company and they've written us this kind of document and told us what we already know, that there's nothing really out in the marketplace. And I said, have you ever heard of Replit? And they said, the what? Replit? I was like, so I boot up Replit and I put in 2 sentences, that's it, into this prompt. It looks a bit like ChatGPT. Put it into the prompt. And I said, you know, I've got a client, got dog daycare business. They need to be able to track customers, dogs, discounts after the 3rd session. We need to be able to track things like allergies, medications. We want to be able to see an analytics dashboard. And, you know, can you build me the web application? And these clients are looking at me, it's like I've landed from a different planet. They're like, you know, AI can't do this, Justin. I was like, AI can do this. 10 minutes later, it had built a full-blown web application, and what I'm going to try and do is flash it up into the video. I'm not very good at video editing, believe it or not. I should find some AI for that. But, you know, it was amazing. It built this fully working web application, and at first they were like, oh, it's designed as a web page. I'm like, no, this isn't a web page. This is a full-blown working web application, and we could click into customers, we could add customers, we could associate the customers to dogs. We had all the information that we were looking for. It was tracking discounts. It was doing all, and even with graphs and all of this sort of stuff. It was not bug free. It was absolutely not bug free. And wisdom with hindsight, if I was to do it again, I would have probably fed in a specification of exactly what I wanted out of this piece of software. But it built this web application, and I've seen a few other people using things like Replit to rapidly develop web technologies, you know, and web applications, things that they just, you know, it would have cost tens of thousands of pounds to kind of do this sort of thing. I think one of the key concerns here is security. You know, you've got a piece of AI producing software code. Is that code secure? But actually, do you know what? In order to get to a prototyping stage, that still costs thousands of pounds. We've just removed that entire stage. So, you know, these sorts of technologies are out there. I think some other things that I've been doing with tech recently in my own world, you know, like this video for YouTube, for example, when I record it, it goes, the piece of software that I use for that, it removes all of my ums and ers. Now I've got a problem because I can't take them out of this video. Now I've said and but you get the idea. Is it's just automatically edits it for me. It creates automatically. So when I upload it to YouTube, it's there. I've got a downloadable file. It's got all the timings in it. It automatically just creates a description. It creates a title for this video. It does a lot of stuff for me, and that again is AI working on that as well. I've recently just launched my second book as an audio book, 10 Ideas to Save 10% in 10 Minutes, and I used a voice clone to record most of that book. It was taking me so long to record each chapter. For each 10 minutes of audio that I produced, so each chapter was around 10 minutes, that's the premise of the book after all, it was taking me about an hour to edit each one. Then I had a problem. I'd go onto ACX, the Amazon system for audiobooks. I'd upload it into ACX and it would fail. The normalization wasn't right. The sound levels, peak, all of this sort of stuff. I just couldn't get it to work. So I decided to experiment with a piece of technology called ElevenLabs. And ElevenLabs is it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. It's still a work in progress, and I had to sort of do things with ElevenLabs, which to kind of get it to work. So I had to record small sections of the book in order to create a true reflection of my voice. They have like a studio mode where you can produce in this like long form content, and it'll works really, really well. But the problem is it loses my voice, and my voice is it's part of my brand. So in order to do it, I use this feature in ElevenLabs called text to voice, and it produces a really, really accurate reflection of my own voice. But the problem is, as soon as you start and get beyond 1,000 characters, the voice degenerates. You get all these cracks and pops and things like that. So I had to record it in very short sections, then I had to stitch it together using a piece of software called Audacity. So stitch it all together. Great. Okay. Still got a problem with the kind of the mastering of those files, haven't I? So I used a piece of software called Auphonic, which uses AI. And AI, basically, you tell it that you're producing an ACX file, and it does all the peaks, levels, it sorts it all out, and it removes all of the noises, like the mouth noises. You don't think about stuff like this, like the pops, the breath noises. When we're actually doing YouTube and even actually podcasting, that's not actually terribly important, but for audiobooks it's incredibly important. So I use something like that. Kind of other examples that where I've been using it as well is when I produce a podcast, I've got a zap through Zapier. It detects that there's a new item in my RSS feed. It then feeds it through ChatGPT. It creates the social media post and it posts it onto my LinkedIn. I've got a bit of a problem with that. It's not rendering the link correctly, but you know what? What it writes is absolutely super. But it's hopefully giving you ideas. I use ChatGPT quite a lot. Now, people are getting ChatGPT all wrong, right? If you're a business owner and you're going to start using this commercially, you need a paid for subscription. That's your first thing that you need. Why do you need a paid for subscription? It's because you need to be producing your own GPTs, your own custom models. I have about a dozen different custom models, and I'll give you a couple of examples. One of my custom models is called the Company Car Tax Planner. I mean, it doesn't get much more exciting than this, but it's trained on electric EVs and what it means for something called benefit in kind, and what it also means for corporation tax. So if you can have a car as a lease, a PCP, or a hire purchase, an outright purchase, they all have different tax implications. And depending on the value of the car, depends on what the benefit in kind is. You don't need to be an accountant to understand it. We all have these things, these industry quirks, don't we? Things that we work on. But this GPT is trained on that. So a client comes to me and says, Justin, I'm looking at a Tesla Model Y. What's the tax implications for that? All I have to do is put the details of that into my car tax planner, and it writes me an email. Not only that, I've recorded a YouTube video on company EVs, and it even finds the link for that video, it puts it in. I've got a fact sheet, it finds the link for that, it puts it in, and it's saving me 20-30 minutes. And I asked a client recently, said, what do you think of that email that I wrote you about the company car stuff when you asked the question? They were like, Justin, it was amazing. And I've got another one for presenting personal tax returns. Again, really, really simple. You just put in kind of how much tax the clients got to pay, what the income. It takes you 2 minutes to put the information in. Then you press OK, and it writes this customized email that's to present the tax return, and it even depending on where the income has been generated, it gives bits of tax advice about pensions and charity and all of that kind of great stuff. I've got, a GPT trained on the content of my 2 books. So if I've got a blog article and I'm like, actually, can I turn that into the more of the style of my first book, The Science of Business? I can tell it and say, could you write this more in the style of that than my Science of Business book? And it will go off and do it for me. It's absolutely genius, basically. But this is where we're getting wrong. Custom models, we can't expect GPTs to be, the general model of GPT to be an expert of everything. But actually, if you train a GPT model and in a particular subject area, then, it becomes brilliant at it. It doesn't make as many mistakes, and that's the really key thing. One of the things with using GPT models are they're not error free ultimately. And when I use my GPT models and it presents an answer, I am an expert in my field and I know whether it's right or wrong. When you're working in technical subject areas like tax, I think it's a good idea that you know the tax rules inside out, back to front, before you actually use it. Actually producing marketing content, creating social media posts from a blog article, all it's doing is rehashing what I've already written. The risk is relatively low. So, it's giving you an idea. But what I want you to take away from this video today is not, just it says go use Replit or you and use ElevenLabs or, OpenAI is the answer to all problems. It's not. There are so many different AI tools out there. What I want you to do is go and look at what you're doing in your business and thinking, can I A, automate this, or B, automate it and link it with AI technology, or could I use AI technology better? And I think there are solutions out there all of the time that you can go off and use in your business and deploy. It's just going to require a bit of research and a little bit of time, and once you've got them working, then they're absolutely amazing. One of the things that I've been seeing Zapier have been talking about is creating AI chatbots. It's not something I'm going to do in my business. It's not what we stand for as a business. But, actually creating customer service agents that are trained to deal with technical issues. So you feed them all of your kind of technical data and they can actually actively help customers. And they're surprisingly good, actually. But my point is, go off and investigate. If you've enjoyed today's video, then, please like and subscribe to my channel. It means a huge amount to me. I've got more information on my podcast. So I'm on Apple and Spotify. So if you just search for AskJT, you can go off and find my podcast. I'm pretty easy to find. And if you want to have a look at my blog, it's askjt.co.uk/blog. And I'll see you in the next video. I hope that's been useful. Bye.